Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrol List, and guess what? We are almost exactly 2 weeks out from the next race weekend. As a matter of fact, wait a second, we are 2 weeks out. You know what I'm gonna do? Hold on. Much better. Well, I'm gonna do film every single day for the next 2 weeks until we get to the race weekend. Why? Because this is that crazy wackadoodle time of year that all the teams are making crazy second half of the year decisions. What should I call it? Is it the halftime show? Is it the half season stretch? Is it silly season bonanza? I don't know, but guess what? We've got a couple of topics to cover today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, especially subscribe, because if you want to see what's going on, especially adding in the opinion of yours truly, you're going to want to subscribe to see what I'm talking about every day. Now, the first one, actually, it's kind of sweet redemption for me because if you've been following my channel, I think it was the week before last, I made mention that Kimi Antonelli had already signed to Mercedes, and it turned out that that was just a rumor. Well, guess what? It is no longer a rumor. Kimi Antonelli has signed with Mercedes, which means my video that I made is now correct and not just hearsay. Now, that said, moving forward, I will still verify information. Otherwise, I will say it's a rumor. Trust me on that, but Kimi Antonelli is, as a matter of fact, going to be racing for Mercedes in 2025. He's going to be the replacement for one Sir Lewis Hamilton, and this was confirmed by Planet F1 and other major outlets, and it's said that the announcement is going to be made at Monza. It's appropriate. Kimi Antonelli is Italian, after all. I think it's a great place to do that. The fans are going to go absolutely crazy, and it looks like Lewis Hamilton is set to do the changing of the guard from himself over to Kimi in some kind of ceremonious thing. My gosh, I hope Kimi actually races really well, because that would be super awkward to, get the keys to the city and proceed to not be able to drive. Now, that's going to make George Russell feel some kind of way to have the official, changing of the guard ceremony going directly from Lewis Hamilton to Kimi Antonelli, skipping George Russell altogether. Though I'm not sure that that Russell earned, that kind of ceremony. I wonder, if he was doing a lot better, if he had formed a better relationship with Lewis Hamilton in the meantime, in the last couple of years, would they be doing an official thing where they hand over, the lead driver's position from Hamilton over to Russell? We'll never know. That's not how, unfortunately, how Russell conducted himself. I'm not necessarily not a fan of Russell. I just don't think that he's proven himself. But guess what? Neither has Kimi Antonelli. He is 17 years old. Now, sources say that he has undertaken extensive testing. He drove the previous year's car at Imola, Red Bull Ring, and at Spa. I mean, if you can get that tractor to go fast and be successful in testing, then I guess you have really earned yourself a spot in Formula One, because I don't know if they solved the porpoising problems before Kimi participated, but who knows? In 2015, Max Verstappen was the youngest driver ever to compete in Formula One. He was also 17 years old at the time. But let's not forget, he started with Scuderia Toro Rosso, and then was promoted to Red Bull after 4 races. So that would have been the equivalent of Kimi Antonelli going to Williams first, doing 4 races, and then them saying, hey, he's doing good enough to promote him. Instead, Mercedes is going all in on their 17-year-old. I hope he doesn't come to the same end as Nick DeVries. He failed to launch in Formula One. I think he's got some other super Formula racing contract. I mean, let's not forget, Formula One isn't the only race in town. It's not even the only open wheel race in town. It's definitely the biggest, and I'm not sure that other people, unless I'm not sure that people who aren't racing fans follow any of these other series very closely. I'm a racing fan. I don't even follow the other series very closely, so it is a little bit of demotion. Okay, I got sidetracked there. But yeah, Antonelli will go straight to Merc. I almost said Mercury. Ford? Mercury. Have you driven a Ford lately? I have. I drive a Bronco. Anyway, he's going straight to Mercedes. So the question was that decision absolutely necessary? My answer is no. Mercedes painted themselves into a corner with their failure to negotiate with Lewis Hamilton, and they even ignored Sainz, who was seemingly excited to see if he could get a chance with Mercedes. So ignored Sainz for that. And then also, that definitely takes Verstappen out of the running for 2025. Maybe it leaves him in the running for 2026. Maybe Mercedes is hedging their bets. If Antonelli is a flop, then they'll get rid of him and put Max in the driver's seat, maybe. If George Russell is a flop and Kimi ends up out driving him, or pulls an Oscar Piastri and shows more potential, maybe they also get rid of Russell and put Verstappen into the driver's seat. But I mean, there are risks. You know, the on the pro side, he could be a phenomenal young driver who could easily be with the team for the next decade. If he pulls a Hamilton, it could be more than the next decade. By that time, Toto Wolff will have retired, and he will have had two of the most phenomenal drivers ever. His legacy will be cast in gold and silver. I'm not sure where I got that from. But the cons are there's no true lead driver at Mercedes anymore come 2025. George Russell, I think, lacks the demeanor to be lead driver, and Kimi Antonelli simply lacks the experience. Either way, Mercedes is going to be an exciting team to watch next year, because I would love to be a fly on the wall to see how George Russell and Kimi Antonelli get along. Not necessarily, off the paddock. That'll be exciting too, but on the track. Will there be intensity? Will George Russell be fighting to keep every bit of whatever lead political capital that he has? Or is he going to drive a little bit differently and try to maintain a secondary seat? My gosh, I don't know. Who knows? It's going to be exciting to see. Now, the other super exciting contract, I got to say, is Adrian Newey. I first want to talk about the whole Ferrari fiasco. So Adrian Newey was rejected by Ferrari, or Adrian Newey rejected Ferrari. Maybe the feeling was mutual, but from what I understand, Ferrari tried 4 times to negotiate a deal with Adrian Newey, and the straw that broke the camel's back was the fact that Adrian Newey wanted to reserve the right to veto technical resource hiring, engineering hiring. And that, I think, kind of gets into team principal, team director territory. And I can see why Fred Vasseur was like, oh, it's a little bit much, buddy. A little much. I do the hiring, I do the firing. And Ferrari is, let's not forget, Ferrari's a proud team. Red Bull was a drinks company that, oh, by the way, decided to have a Formula One team. Ferrari, on the other hand, is the epitome of racing heritage, and I can understand why they were deciding that, no, we decide who the engineers are. We decide, the other, technical bits, and you, sir, are going to stay in your lane as the designer of chassis or aerodynamics or whatever, and that wasn't enough for Adrian Newey. Now, the pros for that, if Fred Vasseur is correct and he can have an amazing car created with the engineers that he has. Remember, Loic Serra from Mercedes is coming over, and I think some other technical folks from Mercedes are coming over, not to mention the technical folks that Ferrari already has. If Fred can pull this off without Adrian Newey, make a great car for 2026. Let's not forget he's got Lewis Hamilton coming over, who is well known for, talking to engineers, making cars fast. Maybe that was the gamble he wanted to take. And maybe he didn't want to take the gamble of having an Adrian Newey on the team, becoming completely dependent on him, and then him riding off into the sunset with the retirement. And I don't know if that would have been the case, because Adrian Newey signed a 4-year contract at the tune of $100 million total with Aston Martin. So maybe they would have guaranteed 4 years. I don't know if that was enough for the visions that Fred Vasseur has for the future. Now, maybe also the ground effects era is almost over, and maybe aerodynamics won't be as critical as a part. I mean, it's Formula One. Aerodynamics are always going to be critical, but maybe it won't be as critical as what it was what it was during the ground effects era. And maybe that was a risk that Fred Vasseur was willing to take, but that does kind of whisk Adrian Newey into the open arms of Aston Martin. Now, here's the thing. Aston Martin is going to have a contract with Honda for the powertrain, and we all know Honda has an extensive and fabled history of creating amazing power units over in Formula One world. So they're going to have that. They're going to have Adrian Newey, and they are, from what I hear, really trying hard to get Max Verstappen in 2026. Does that sound familiar? Honda, Newey, Verstappen. It sounds like Red Bull all over again. So essentially, Aston Martin is trying to be the new Red Bull. Like literally trying to be the new Red Bull. So we'll see how that goes. Now, other wacky stuff is going on in Formula One world, but ain't got time for that. I'm going to cover it tomorrow. Checo Perez. We got Carlos Sainz over at Williams. We have the Honey Badger trying to take that seat from Checo, but it ain't going to happen for Mexico for financial reasons and probably political reasons and all that stuff. Trust me, this next 2 weeks before the next race weekend is going to be amazing. Like, subscribe, comment. Also, tell me what kind of stuff you want to see. What do you want me to talk about over the next couple of weeks? Because I'm going to try this out, man. I'm going to try and, do it. Record every single day. Looks like we're at about 14 minutes. I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes. I talk a lot, hence YouTube channel. So we'll see. Anyway, that's enough for me today. I'm sure that's enough for you as well. This has been the Petrol List. I have been Dalton, and you have been amazing. I'm out.